Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good morning. My name is Muhammad Akram bin Mahmud. My metric number 056350. So today I will share about law and ethics. In our Malaysian, we have our own law and regulation that we must follow. We as a citizen must follow the law and regulation that was enforced by the government of Malaysia. If we break the law, we will get the punishment of what action we have done. So, all information security specialists or whoever work in the security field, whoever work in a technical field, must understand the law and the law of an organization that have been they work in there. Understand the law of an organization is mean keep up to date about the current law, the current regulation, the current ethical issue. This can minimize the liability and the issue in an organization. What's mean of law? Law is the rule that decided by a particular place or particular authority that means the purpose to keeping safety and peace of the society. Police and court normally use or normally enforce this kind of law to who break the law that have been governed by the authority. For example, the speed limit at the highway is 110 km per hour. If we drive the car exceed that speed limit, we will get a punishment of our action that drive the car exceed the limit of the highway. So, what's mean of ethics? Ethics mean a social behavior, social acceptable behavior. Ethics is more to moral and attitude of the person. For example, we normally give salam before we enter into the house. That is a good attitude of the person. That's ethical way. And second, we throw the rubbish not into the dustbin but elsewhere. That is the example of unethical attitude. What is different between law and attitude? Law is carrying sanction of governing authority, but attitude does not. Whoever break the law, whether he or she at the higher level of the government, at higher level, higher position at the some organization, they will get punishment. And whoever done the unethical attitude, like throw rubbish not into the dustbin but elsewhere, they will not get punishment, but they will be judged by the society. To be a great information security officer or who are working in the technical field, we must understand the legal framework within which organization we are working. So here type of law that we have. First, civil law. What's the meaning of civil law? Civil law defines the right and the responsibility between individual government authority and private entities in their interaction with each other. Second is criminal law. What's the meaning of criminal law? Criminal law is the body of the law that refer to the crime. For example, who someone done the murder, he will be charged under the criminal law. That's for example that for criminal law. Second is private law. Private law is regulate the relationship among individual and among organization. Private law normally not involve government. And lastly is public law. Public law regulate the administration of government agency and their relationship. Normally, this public law are related to the government. The case are related to government, we will go to the public law. Next, what is different between policy and law? Policy is consists of statement of rule and standard. Policy does not change frequently. Policy may not include additional information, and normally policy are done by the CEO. CEO will make this kind of policy, and he or she will think if this policy are suitable for their organization and this policy can be followed by their employee. So normally policy is easily to be understand by employee, and policy must be followed to all employee who are working on that organization. United States are the first country in this world who are develop and implementing information security legislation. Information security legislation will contribute to more reliable business and stable economy. So at the next page, I will share about the international law. Um why we need an international law? Because of the cultural differences and the political complexity of the relationship among the nations. This international law is attempt to improve the effectiveness of the international investigation branch of the technology law. This law is a relevant US law that we use nowadays. First is Computer Fraud and Abuse Act of 1986 CFA Act. This is the first law that we use to fight against the cybercrime. It was amended in October 1996 by National Information Infrastructure Protection Act. This is the first law who addressed the crime in which the computer is the subject. This law is a cornerstone of many computer-related federal law, and it's been further modified to the USA Patriot Act of 2001. USA Patriot Act of 2001. This law was given the enforcement agency greater latitude, greater latitude to combat terrorism-related activities. This act also can be used for the crime that intentionally access into the computer and gain any information on that computer. One of the first case prosecuted under Computer Fraud and Abuse Act of 1986 was the Mori cases. He is a PhD student of computer science at the Cornell University, US. He was one to demonstrate the weakness of security measurement of the computer on the internet at their university and at the United States Army base. Uh, how he done that? He sent a virus worm into all computer that he can access, but uh, that virus will spread, but that virus will replicate itself slowly enough that it will not cause any trouble to any trouble to the computer and crash that computer. But unfortunately, their calculations are wrong. That virus are spread fast enough and make all the computer at the army base, at their university, Cornell University become down. So from their action, the US done the investigation, and he was get caught and punishment on their action, and he was uh, get punishment under this Act, Computer Fraud and Abuse Act of 1986, CFA Act. So the second law that we use is the Computer Security Act of 1987. It's to protect federal computer system. In the first attempt to protect a federal computer system, this following this law, the National Bureau of Standards and the NSA, nowadays we call NIST, was charged to create or develop the standard, the guideline, and associate method of technique for computer system. From this law, it was established a computer system security privacy advisory board within the Department of E-commerce. Next is privacy law. What is privacy law? Private, uh, Privacy law is important to us because privacy contain our personal informations. For instance, our IC number, our home address, our phone number, and etc. Therefore, to protect our privacy information, uh, at all costs to prevent criminal such as fraudulent and privacy evasion. So from that, the US was made one law, one of the law that related to privacy. It is the Federal Privacy Act of 1974. This law is arise to regulate the government to use of private information of the nation. This can ensure that government agency can protect our privacy of individual and business information. So the second law that related to the privacy is the Electronic Communication Privacy Act of 1986. This law regulates the interception of wires, electronic, and oral communication. It also prohibits search and seizure without a warrant. For example, the police or authority agencies cannot seizure any laptop, phone, or mobile device, and so on, uh, without the warrant from the court. If they do also, they will charge under the Electronic Communication Privacy Act of 1986. So the next is a law about the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act of 1996, HIPAA. Uh, it as standardized electronic data interchange. And this law require the retained healthcare information. Uh, the organization who retain the healthcare information to use information security mechanism to protect their patient information from being stealed by the third party. So for example, we have our healthcare data in our hospital. If our information about healthcare are exposure to the third party, we can take an action under the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act of 1996 HIPAA. So from that we can protect our information from being stolen by the third party. The last law that related to the privacy is the Financial Service Modernization Act. It's also called Gramm-Leach-Bliley Act of 1999. Gramm-Leach-Bliley Act of 1999, where it require all financial institutions to disclose their privacy policy. Safeguarding the confidentiality of customer information is no longer a best practice for the financial authorities or financial institutions, but it is now a legal requirement that financial institutions must follow. So I'm done for the privacy law. So next we go to the export and espionage law. First law that related to espionage law is Economic Espionage Act (EEA) of 1996. This law attempt to protect intellectual property. Uh, what's mean of intellectual property? IP, intellectual property. IP. Intellectual property is a creation of the mind, like artistic work, and trademark, and so on. For example, Nike have their own symbol. Nike. Nike have their own symbol streak. So this symbol cannot be imitated by another person or another parties. Uh, if they imitate that symbol from Nike, they will be charged under the Economic Espionage Act (EEA) of 1996. Uh, with this IP, it enables people to earn recognition, to become fame, and or he can financial benefit from what they have invention and what they have invent and create. That is IP. So mm, next law that related to export and espionage law is the Security and Freedom Through the Encryption Act of 1996. This provides guidance on the use of encryption. From this law, we reinforce an individual right to use or set encryption algorithm. It prohibits the federal government from requiring the use of encryption for contract, grant, and other official documents. So here is the slide for ethics in the information security. So we have 10 commandments of computer ethics. First is do not use a computer to harm other people. Like hacking, we have two types of hacking: white hat and black hat. Black hat is the hacker intentionally hack another PC, another computer, to gain access and to get the information that he wants and to harm that PC. Second type of hacker is white hat, or we call a penetration tester. This white hat is being hired or being paid by the company to hack or penetrate the system or the software that company was built to find the vulnerability in that system. Okay, second is interfere with other people computer work. This is like we send a virus lah. We send a virus into the computer that can harm the computer program and can interfere with normal functioning of the computer. And then third is snoop around in other people computer file. We cannot snoop around. As I said earlier, the privacy law. If you snoop around in other people computer file, you was break the privacy law. We know that it's wrong to read someone messages or obtain information from that. So this is the inventions of the someone privacy. Uh, but there are a few exceptions, like spying is necessary, that don't call as a unethical behavior, unethical attitude when it does again illegal illegitimate use of the computer. For example, the police want to know what is criminal cheating chat, what is criminal chat with their friend. So the police can spy by using this snoop around, and so the police can snoop into the computer file, into the hand criminal phone to find the information so that the police can catch that police can catch that people and put them on the jail. And then use a computer to steal, then use a computer to bear false witness, and then do not copy or use a proprietary software without paying. This is common right now, if I'm not mistaken, because that is a illegal thing. When we download the software that we want to use from the website that doesn't need us to pay, but in the legal website that need we pay when we want to download it. For example is when we go to the website, into PC website, we can download everything for free from there, even though at the legal website it must pay. So that's one of the example of the copy and download software without paying. So next is use other people computer resource without authorization or proper compensation. This is like we break into the computer, another person computer, and break into their password and enter into that computer and steal information from the computer. That is wrong. Also, that is unethical behavior that we must avoid. So next is appropriate other people intellectual output. Next is think about the social consequences of the program you are writing or the system. Um, for example, we create a video game for the child. For example, we create a video game for the child. We cannot use the animation that or content that can influence the negativity to that child, because we want to avoid from that child, we want to avoid from a child being affected by influenced by that negativity. And lastly is always use a computer in ways that ensure consideration and respect for the fellow humans. Information security professionals should do everything that he can in their power to deter the unethical and illegal act. This can be deterred by using the policy, procedure, training, education, and so on. Uh, and also you can use a technology as control to protect the information from being taken by another person, by the third party. Some professional organizations have their own codes of conduct, or we call codes of ethics. A security professional must ethically according to the policy and procedure of their organization. To be a great employee, we must follow our organization rule and policy. So that's all for me for today. Thank you. So that's all for me about law and ethics. Thank you.